I started practicing in naturopathy in 1990, and in the mid-90s is when we really were experiencing a huge wave of children being diagnosed with ADD and then ADHD. So many kids were starting to be put on medications, and that trend has continued and ramped up. If you take a look at mass shooters and you look at their medical history, you will see that many of them have been on psychiatric medications. There are black box warnings on many of these medications, yes, for suicidal behavior, but also for an increase in violent behavior. We have to look at these things. We cannot just over-medicate people and expect that there's going to be no repercussions. Now, not everybody who takes these drugs become violent, but when you add in the right number of other factors, plus what are their genetics like, what are their vulnerabilities, you're adding fuel to this fire and the powder keg is going to explode at some point. Let's talk now about the social factors that contribute to violent behavior. One thing I've noticed a lot, because I deal with a lot of school teachers in my practice, and my own mom was a school teacher, over the years, there's been a lessening of personal responsibility. It used to be that if you got in trouble at school, you got in twice as much trouble at home. Like you did not want your house being called, by the teacher or the principal because you knew you were in for it. But that started changing, and more parents, if they get a call from school, their response is to go down to the school and stand up to the principal and the teacher and saying, what's wrong with you? Why are you not controlling my child? Let's talk about some statistics. Between 2000 and today, it's estimated that nearly 1 in 10 children ages 3 to 17 are medicated. Now, your age 3 to 10-year-olds are not medicated to the same degree as the adolescents. Like what I see in my practice is that a lot more kids get referred for these medications when they hit puberty. When puberty happens, there's a lot of hormonal changes in the body, of course, and that can trigger things and emotions. And if we don't pay attention to the underlying causes of, gosh, let's straighten up the nutrition, let's be sure they're not engaged in inappropriate social media behavior, those kinds of things, then medication becomes an answer that many parents feel forced to do. The last factor I want to bring up, looking at the increase in violence that has happened, I have to bring up COVID. The solution that many people were forced into doing to save their job, to attend school, etc. Now we know there are repercussions from that. But even taking that out of the picture, socially, what that did to people when we were shut completely down and isolated. Just think, children and young adults and older adults, all of us were affected by that shutdown. Our social lives were affected. Kids, little kids, breaks my heart for the little kids in that time period because the babies, part of how they develop is interacting with faces. When all the strangers' faces that they see have a mask on, who knows what kind of emotional harm that does for kids. School online, what a disaster. The social isolation that people had. So we have to take that into consideration as well. What do we do about it? It's not past the point of no return, but we have to return to nature. We have to get rid of the ultra-processed foods, the foods that in many cases are, less than 50% actual food. We've got to get that out of our diets. We've got to get out in the sunshine. So much research about sunlight and our mitochondrial function and our nervous system. It's so important for our health. So cuddle an animal, buy real food, go to the farmer's market, visit your local farms. They need our help anyway. This is the answer. We have to get back to a more natural way of living, and we have to reconnect with nature. I would say also from a spiritual standpoint, regardless of what your religious background is, We need spirituality in our lives. As a naturopath, we are trained that people are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. If any of that is missing, you're going to have a harder time being healthy. So take all those factors into consideration. Get more involved with nature. Let's see if we can't turn this world around. I firmly believe we can.